Staying in Contact. I'm London Mitchell. In my more than 50 years on the air in Toledo, I've had the opportunity to learn about many individuals and their activities working to improve the quality of life in the Toledo area. Each week, this program highlights such a person or organization that may not be grabbing the attention of other media. Did you know there is a commission ordained by the Toledo City Council working to bring film productions to the greater Toledo area and Northwest Ohio? Well, there is. It's called Film Toledo, or recently anointed the Toledo Film Commission. More filming here could result in more jobs. In this installment, I chat with the president of Film Toledo, Michael DeSanto. It was just this past week that the Toledo City Council recognized Film Toledo as the city's film commission, a move that Michael says will make his work much easier.
So over the last 5 years, we've been working behind the scenes pretty much, trying to bring in film productions and assist film productions that have come in sort of on an unofficial scale. We would have productions reach out to us or the city. And at the time, the city really didn't understand the process for this or what they needed to do or have a proper film permit program in place. So it kind of made sense for us to kind of join forces and get this going in a proper way.
I think a lot of people listening to us this morning might say, Toledo? A location for movies?
Well, part of our initial pitch, we had talked to the Department of Economic Development and the City of Toledo over the last couple of years, trying to explain that we have a lot of advantages. We have a really centralized location. We're in between a lot of other major film hubs. You have Cleveland, you have Chicago, Detroit used to be a huge spot for film. You have film commissions in other regions like Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton. You know, they're all on the map, and we weren't quite there yet. And we have these amazing locations that you can't get anywhere else. You know, there's a reason that the Tom Hanks film, A Man Called Otto, filmed in Toledo, because we have that beautiful vintage period piece perfect Amtrak station that you can't get anywhere else. And they sought that out.
So tell me about some of the other locations you can't find anywhere else.
Well, we actually, when we explain this to production companies, Toledo has two advantages. We have a revitalized downtown region, which has all these new facilities, and there's so much growth. It's a beautiful, scenic downtown where it wasn't like that 10, 15 years ago. There's been so much growth. And then the other advantage is we have a lot of places that have been untouched, because sometimes people are looking for period specific locations. I actually just had a production reach out about a vintage gas station, and there are plenty of those in and around Northwest Ohio. So those kind of locations, it's either they're looking for something unique and brand new, or they're looking for something that can represent something older. And we have a lot of history in our locations.
And I would imagine you've got some kind of index you've put together to show, well, we've got vintage gasoline stations, we've got modern skyscrapers, we have, plenty of open plain or forest areas.
Right. We do have an internal database that we use depending on the production that comes in. Sometimes they have their own scouts come in from other locations. We had a location scout come in for a project coming in from Atlanta, and they had a good idea of what they were looking for, but they just needed the connections to get into certain places. And then other location scouts, they don't know the area very well. And in the case of the Cleveland Film Commission, they actually, they'll reach out to us and say, the territory better than we do. Can you think of something that would fit for this project? And that's the advantage of knowing Toledo so well, because I've lived here most of my life, and the other people we have involved in our organization, they know Toledo really well, and they have a lot of connections, and it just makes sense.
But what does this designation by the Toledo City Council actually do?
So it does make us official in the eyes of the state of Ohio and the Ohio Film Office. That allows us to get listed on the Ohio Film Office website as an official commission, which means when productions are looking at Ohio in general, they see Toledo listed with every other major region. And that also opens us up, because of the official partnership with the local government, to grant and funding opportunities from the state of Ohio, the Ohio Arts Council, other organizations like that, because we're still an independent organization. We're not part of the city structure per se, but we are representing the area. And having that official designation just makes it easier for people to reach out to us and say, oh, we know you are the official people we should be going through. And now we have a direct link to the city for permits, street closures, access to different locations that we as Film Toledo didn't have before. There's a lot of advantages.
Obviously, there are people within the Toledo government that believe this is a missed opportunity for Toledo. We should be out there marketing ourselves to Hollywood.
Definitely. So Councilwoman Katie Moline, she was our big champion for this, getting this resolution passed, and working with Brandon Selhorst at the Department of Economic Development. They both understood that there were missed opportunities, and there are opportunities not only for us to showcase our locations, but to bring in money to the city. A film production, even A Man Called Otto, when that came in, that had it was 162 extras that they hired for a single day. And you're talking almost $30,000 in wages just for those extras that were hired locally and regionally. And you're talking about all the ancillary costs of, renting out the Amtrak station and the police department hiring or providing security for that, blocking off the streets. All those costs are a benefit to the city.
It's a great movie, A Man Called Otto. I really enjoy that movie, but you don't want to go for popcorn or you'll miss the scene from Toledo.
Yeah, it's a short scene, but it's one of the great things about these film productions that come in. Sometimes it's a day and a scene on location, and sometimes it's an entire film that wants to shoot here, which it doesn't happen very often, but we're working to bring more of those long-term projects into this, because that's what brings more economic development and long-term development. We want to see studio spaces built here. We want to see more education and training for people who want to work in the film industry.
I don't want you to reveal any of your secrets, but how do you stay in touch with the Hollywood production companies? How do you know what they might be looking for?
So they will reach out to us directly. In some cases, they've reached out to the city of Toledo, because for a while there was that confusion as to who to reach out to. And then they'll reach out to the other film commissions in Ohio, and then they'll sort of forward that information to us. We actually just got a request from the Columbus Film Commission about looking for a location in Northwest Ohio. So that way we'll kind of cooperate and work together, because it really does benefit all of us, because these films take advantage of the Ohio Motion Picture Tax Credit, which is a statewide credit.
Oh, I'd never heard of that before.
Yes, so it's the Ohio Motion Picture Tax Credit. It's basically a 30% discount off of what you're spending in Ohio. And that the credit was actually increased. Right now it's $40 million. Next year it's going to be 50. And in 2025, it goes up to $75 million. And 25 million of that is actually for its reserved for infrastructure and related expenses. So that could be for construction of spaces or upgrades to equipment. That's something that it benefits the entire state, because that attracts more productions in general. Up in Michigan, they're working on restoring their tax credit, which was $100 million. And that's something where we want to make sure that Ohio stays competitive. And every other state, that surrounds us has a tax credit, and they're competing for those dollars. And we want to make sure that Ohio is as competitive as possible. And we're doing everything that we can to attract these productions, because if we don't, that's money on the table. That's a tax credit that's available whether it's used or not.
For those who might be listening and might be thinking, oh, it's a pipe dream to have a big Hollywood production company come into a city in Ohio. But I have to point out, Cleveland, when Marvel came in there to shoot some of the Avengers movies, they spent days there.
It's true. We actually have a couple of big productions that we know are coming to Cleveland, where we actually will send our people out to Cleveland. We'll say, hey, here's an opportunity if it's for background work or if there are casting calls or crew calls. It's rare because usually these productions bring in their own crew, but there are a lot of opportunities. And if we don't have them in Northwest Ohio right now, we're more than happy to send people out to Cleveland or Columbus or any other region for work, because, everybody in the film industry, you have to travel for work, especially around here.
Let's talk about around here. I've kind of led the conversation in terms of big Hollywood productions, but that's not where all the movie making is taking place.
We do have a lot of great indie films that have been happening in and around Toledo. I'm an indie filmmaker myself. I've been making films for almost 15 years at this point, but these are all micro budget productions. And, we try to help out the large productions that are interested in filming here, but we also try to provide as much assistance as possible to smaller productions, because they often showcase Toledo and Northwest Ohio in a great light. The last film that I shot in 2019, we made sure to showcase a bunch of locations in and around Toledo, showing off the skyline, local businesses, because we want to make sure that people see Toledo at its best. We have a lot of locations that have not been seen on film before.
Let me ask you about some of these smaller films. Where might somebody see them?
So we actually just had a showcase at the Valentine Theater last week or the week before. The Brudeck showcase as part of the Arts Commission's Momentum Festival, which showcased a lot of local films. We're looking to do more of those kind of festivals. We also had the Glass City Screenwriters Group put together a showcase of local films. And that's something we want to see more of, more filmmakers kind of banding together to have more showcases. And also we have partnered with the Toledo Lucas County Public Library. It's the Film Focus series, which is showcasing once a week. It's every Thursday. It's a showcase of a local filmmaker and their film, and we're hosting those events.
I'm London Mitchell. My guest is Michael DeSanto, the president of Film Toledo, working to bring film production to Toledo and Northwest Ohio.
You can actually reach out to us at filmtoledo.com. That way you can see the events that we have, everything we've been involved in. And also, because we're an independent organization, we rely on donations from local companies, individuals, to sustain our operations and host more events. So please consider donating. That's filmtoledo.com. You can contact us there. We have an email form that'll get out to me. I kind of run our social media, so please feel free to contact us.
Michael DeSanto is the president of Film Toledo, now by resolution of the Toledo City Council, officially a film commission. I love to read your email. You can find me through my webpage, londonmitchell.news. And please accept this invitation to join us next week, staying in contact.